If the touchscreen on your Lexus IS350 is not responding, stay tuned for this video because I'm going to teach you how to fix it. My name is Rick Burrows, you're watching Fix It Rick, so let's fix it. Now before we replace the touchscreen, something that you can try is disconnecting your battery to the car, reconnecting it, and then see if your touchscreen will work again. If that doesn't work, there's a really good chance that the ribbon cable on the touchscreen has been damaged. So with the car off, let's go ahead and get started. What we'll do is that we'll put the emergency brake on. So the first thing we need to do is unscrew the shifter. Next, take a flathead screwdriver and then lift up this little tab. Using your flathead, press down on the shift lock and then shift it into neutral. Next, we need to remove these two sides right here using a plastic scraping tool and a screwdriver. Get it underneath and then just work it up so that it comes out nice and easy. Now we're going to lift the console out. What we have to do is start right here and then we'll just pry the whole thing right out. Now that the console is removed, we can see the cables down here. Simply press on the button and then pull. Then we just move that to the side. Say hi to the cat. He's trying to get in. No, you're not getting in. You're all soaking wet. Using a Phillips head screwdriver, remove this screw and this screw. Now this whole piece will come right out. So this connector has a little button. Go ahead, press it, and then slip it right out. Move that to the side. It's a little tough to show you on camera, but underneath here, there's 4 10mm bolts that we need to remove. One. Next, you need to take the pry tool and then gently pry off this piece. It took a little bit longer than I expected, but you do want to be really careful so you don't break any of this little plastic frame. Inside here are the other 10mm bolts holding this together. Now this whole thing should just come right out. So now that we have the whole thing removed, what we need to do is look at the connections right here and then take a picture because there's a lot of them we have to remove. Each of these connectors are designed to fit in only one specific spot, so when you go to remove them, it'll be a lot easier to put them all back in the same place. Now that we have all this removed, we can now get access to the touchscreen. Now what we have to do is remove all the Phillips head screws that are holding it together. So we're just going to remove these 4 and flip it over and remove the other 4. So let's go ahead and move this little circuit board out of the way. As always, you want to be careful when you're moving electronics around. You want to take your time with this. Using a Phillips head screwdriver, let's go ahead and remove the screws that are holding the touch screen to the frame. Now you want to gently pry this off. So we got these little plates right here. You want to slide them off. Next, it's time to remove the ribbon cable. Be very careful because if you twist the ribbon cable, it will tear, it will break, and then you really don't want to have to replace one of those. And then lift up this little tab. You could do it with your finger. It's better with your finger and not with a flathead. And then she slides right out. Now the last cable we need to remove is this one right here. Use a flathead screwdriver and then very gently pry it right out. Just like that. Now the whole thing is removed and we can swap out the screen. So the touch screen is actually glued right here. You have to take a razor blade and then slowly go all the way around it. So when we're cutting into the glue, we may end up like cracking some of the glass. So we're gonna need to put some safety glasses on. When you're cutting the glue, don't twist. Just keep going straight. Okay, so now the digitizer screen is fully off. I'm going to go throw it in the trash and then we're going to clean it up. All the glass has been removed and the glue that was on here has been scraped off entirely. Now let's go ahead and put the new digitizer screen on. So they come with these adhesive strips and they gave you an extra one in case you screw up. Now when you put the adhesive strip on, you saw me rip off that plastic piece. That's the side you're going to put these adhesive strips on. You can see that they go from corner to corner. I'm going to start on this corner. look at the digital screen itself, you want to look at the ribbon cable on your digitizer and then see where it's supposed to go, right over here. So now what we're doing is we're basically removing the opposite side of the double-sided tape. Now we're going to go ahead and put the two together, and then you just align it like so. Then we're going to gently press the digitizer against the digital screen. Now it's time to remove that plastic protective layer on the screen. So the ribbon cable has to fit like in this little slot. Be very, very careful with that. These suckers are notorious for breaking. These are brittle, so you want to hold your thumb down here and slowly get this cover over the screen. Now that that's on there, let's flip it over. Now let's take that ribbon cable and gently put it in. Put the ribbon cable back in until it stops, and then with your other finger, press down on this little tab. Now very gently, you want to pull on the ribbon cable, give it a little tug, just to make sure that it's in there, but do not twist it, because these are fragile, they will break. Let's put this cover back on. So my camera shut off, but I went to go put these little brass things back in there. Now what we're doing is putting 4 Phillips head screws back into place. What we have to do now is connect the screen to this little cable and the ribbon cable. The little cable is easier, it just slips right in. Click, put the ribbon cable back in, you flip this little tab up, and then you slide her in. Again, be very, very careful with ribbon cables. You then want to close that little flap and press down on it. Very gently tug that ribbon cable, just so you know that this is on there securely. Now we're going to align the holes at the bottom, get one of those started. And as you turn this to the side, you'll be able to see a spot right here for your other Phillips head screw. It helps if you put the screw on the screwdriver first, and then you aim it like so. Yeah! Alright, that went in nicely. Get it all. Put this side back in. You don't want to tighten them all the way, you just want to get them started. When they're all in, then you tighten them all. Again, it helps when you put the screw on there. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, cool. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're just going to tighten down all the screws that were holding the touchscreen in place. You'll notice that there's a ribbon cable right here. It actually gets connected to right here. So when you position this, you gently press it back in. There we go. Everything should slide back in place and click. Now we're going to put these screws back in on the side. Okay, so now that we got all 4 screws back in, let's flip this side over, get the other side. Now that the whole assembly is put back together, we just have to make our connections and then shove them back in. Now the beautiful thing about car manufacturers is that they size these appropriately so that they can only go in one specific spot. So we got this connector right here, goes like this. You always want to hear that click. When you hear it click, it's a good connection. This one's color coded, which is really nice, and it's shaped to go in that spot. This one is gray color, going to a gray connector. This one goes up here, blue to the blue connector. And these other two connectors go in the spot. So everything is still conformed and it's going to fit right in place. This is your radio. Now you want to double check, make sure everything is in there nice and tight. Now let's go ahead and put the 10 millimeters in. Now there's a couple different 10 millimeters at the bottom. You got 2 with washers and 2 with no washers. The ones with the washers go on the 2 in the middle. The ones without the washers go on the 2 outside. Now we'll take the vents and put them back in place. So if you're having trouble getting it back in, you have to press down on these little tabs. So some of these little things right here, these little arms, they weren't in place. Now the little things can move. Everything should slide right back into place. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Yes. Okay, now we're gonna put this little cigarette lighter, cigarette ashtray back in place. Again, everything is shaped so that it'll just click in place. Alright, so that feels good. Now we just have to put the screws back in. Phillips headed screwdriver. Now we only have 2 connections left. That's the black one and this white one. So we gotta maneuver the thing back in the hole. From here, it should just snap in place. Just like that. Now we'll take these 2 pieces and put them in. Here's that little tab that we took out in the beginning. And screw on shifter. Okay, moment of truth. Here we go. Yes, the touchscreen is working. I agree. Beautiful. Okay guys, so that's how you repair the touchscreen on a Lexus IS350. If you found that this video was really helpful and your touchscreen is working again, hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment below. So thanks again for watching Fix It Rick, and always remember that Jesus Christ loves you and only He can solve your biggest problem.